But yeah, I mean, so it's analogous to, you know, like God created me, he created you in an image of him. And, you know, it's like our pride, or even my pride, because I mean, with this bipolar thing, was like, I went to, I was like, man, I just give up. I don't, I don't want to do this thing anymore. And to be frank with you, man, like, you know, Wednesday is when I got released from the hospital, and
Mm-hmm.
then uh, Thursday, Friday is, you know, I just went through um, a deep depression, and I was like, what was that? And like, I pretty much laid in bed Friday, um, Friday to Saturday, like all day, and you know, and but I'm also like taking courage and or being encouraged, and I'm like reading the Bible. I'm like, oh, it's not about like, it's about Jesus and what he's doing, and him reigning as a person who called me to follow him. And like, I was reading First, Second Peter, listening to it, and in there, you know, it's just a reminder, like, my purpose, and my purpose is um, to follow him and to acknowledge him as King and to glorify him and to practice these virtues. And it's, you know, it's funny too, because it's just like, these virtues are not things that I do on my own through my flesh. It's, you know, the Bible is very clear about flesh and then the spirit, and the spirit of a person. And um, it's his spirit that dwells in me to be able to, you know, work out my salvation in fear and trembling, and honoring and honoring God, but also like to know that he's the one who's healing me, and he's the one who's providing for me, and he's the one who's giving me the abilities of walking away from temptation and whatnot. Um, but a lot of my life, Shelby, is, you know, my story is growing up in that religious realm. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and having this kind of like dualistic perspective on it, or not dualistic, but I've been, you know, like, really, it's been waiting on my mind throughout my entire life. And uh, the the encouragement that I have, that because of my faith, is that he takes the I mean, literally, it literally says in the Bible, he takes the weakest of those, like, and makes them strong. Like, and he goes towards the lepers, the people who have skin diseases, and the people who are blind, or harlots, and tax collectors, and who are hated, and he just loves them. And, you know, and for me, I'm like, I'm loved. Like, that's my takeaway, is that I'm loved, and because of that love, and through his spirit, I'm able to, you know, serve him, serve Christ, and like, that's the reason. Um, but I had a heart, like, back in 2012. You know, I was like, I don't know if I believe Christianity. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in it, and I definitely felt like I did well in that cult that I grew up in. Um, and people are like, you're on fire. But, you know, I felt like I wasn't good enough, you know, and I had an addiction to pornography too. You know, I don't know if I mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
uh, when I was younger. I got exposed, and it's been like, the porn is basically something like, it's such an escape for me, and it's such a pacifier. It's been with me since I was a kid. um, and I it's a, you know, a thing that I've struggled to have self control with. um, and it's a drug, you know.
Mm-hmm.
uh, you know, both secular and people who are in religion say like it's not a good coping mechanism. It's not healthy. Jordan Peterson talks about that. You know, then there's some other Jordan Peterson. He's a psychologist who uh, now is a you know speaker, but
Mm-hmm.
he's a college professor, and he talks about porn, and like there's a whole movement, and people are like, no, it's not good for you, and this is what happens. And so like my story really, it's about religion and porn. I mean, like the and what I like that I've done is I've exposed it, you know, on Facebook when went through this manic episode. You know, I was posting on there like I will never watch porn again, or I will not watch porn and stuff like that. And I guess what I want to do is expose it,
Mm-hmm.
like this is it, and I hate it. It's objectifying to women. I'm practicing not looking at it, and it's I think it takes time of self,
Mm-hmm.
but it's self control. I mean, and that's what I'm learning right now is like, especially being Christian. And I'm not like I'm still learning, Shelby. As a Christian, like I'm I I don't want you to think that like, well, you should know better. I'm like, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm trying like to I'm actually like taking serious my faith um and stuff like that, and but also like exposing it and like just taking the shame out of it. Like I don't want to be shame and guilty. I don't want to practice this stuff.